Hey, it's your buddy Tim Shell back at it again with another Raid Shadow Legends video.
Okay, so the title of this video should be Who the hell did I just pull and where the hell does this champion fit in to the gameplay? So, the last week or so, I pulled three champions, one of which I'd never seen before in my life. And he seemed to have a kit that fit in really well with his faction. So I built him out and tried him, and he did what he was told, but it didn't make a very sexy video, so we're not going to get into him too much. I'll introduce him to you. He is this guy. You tell me if you've ever seen this guy before in your life. I have never seen this guy before in my life. Gorlos Helma. And I want to be kind because I'm usually very complimentary of Polarium's artwork, but this guy just seems like they're trying too hard, right? Helma. Get it? Like he's got mouths of hell everywhere on his bow and belly and face. I mean, there's nothing subtle about this champ. I think the colors are too bold. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not a big fan of him, and really the only thing he brings to the table is this, which is a big boy decrease defense buff for 2 turns on an AOE, which is he's the only one in the faction that does that. So I think they kind of brought him in to do that. It's a 100% chance on a 3-turn cooldown. So yeah, he does that, but I didn't want to make a video showing, look, he dropped defense again. And demon spawns are pretty stacked. I mean, most people have, the Drexar, and if you're lucky enough to get Duchess on the last one, and there's some great attack and support champions, and even the epics are super good, right? Allure and Paid Maw is really good, and Umbral Enchantress is really good. So, Achok, the Wendering. Yeah, so it's a pretty stacked faction, and I didn't see a reason to do a video on a guy dropping defense. So we're not going to do that. What we will do is we'll talk about the 3 champions, the 2 other champions that I pulled, that I did build out and still have built out and still have many, many questions about. The first is a dwarf. There's this guy. Sorry, I had to reload my game because it lost a file or something. So hopefully we load here and we can get on with it. It's this guy, Geomancer. Great. I mean, again, you compare this artwork to Helma, and there's just no comparison. I mean, this guy has got a lot going on, right? He's got some kind of glyph on his stone backpack, and he's got that looks like a legendary tome. Maybe he's planning on being a legendary. I can tell you he's no legendary. But, my concern about him is, you see his brothers and sister dwarves, and they are fit. They are fit. They've been to the gym. This guy is not missing a meal. And, yeah, compare him to, Trunda, Miss Fitness USA, and you're thinking, okay, maybe he needs to hire her and hit the gym because guy's got rolls. But anyway, I can't figure out where he belongs. I honestly, I tried him in a lot of different places. Well, let's go over his kit first. He's a force-based attack dwarf support. He doesn't do great damage. If you look, his attack is pretty decent. His defense is really low, which is odd for a dwarf. His speed is low, which is, usual for a dwarf. He's got some free resistance, which again is usual for a dwarf, but his HP is low again. So in his kit, the way his kit works is you almost want enemies to attack him, right? Because he's got this passive. Decreases the damage all allies receive by 15% and deflects that damage onto each enemy under an HP burn. Okay, so it's all allies, so he doesn't need to be attacked. So he's got some kind of deflect damage back to the enemies who are under HP burn, but only under HP burn that he places. So I guess you choose the enemy you want to burn down, and he puts the HP burn on, and then all the When he's attacked, it's 30%, but you don't want him being attacked because he's got bad HP and bad defense. So I'm not sure if that works out so good. But basically, what he does is his A1 is pretty good, but he's got a decreased accuracy. 50%, it's a what, a 40% chance of landing it on one, he attacks all enemies once, 40%. Yeah, I mean, it's utility on A1, okay. And if he had if he had AoE attacks on everything else, I might be like, okay, but this is where it gets weird. So there are like 11 qualifiers in this A2, right? He removes all buffs from a target enemy, then attacks them. Okay, cool. He will steal instead if the target is under an HP burn debuff placed by him. He places an HP burn on this one, on one target, right? So if he's already placed an HP burn on the target and then attacks that target again in a different round, he will steal buffs. So he's already removed them. So how many buffs? I mean, if he got lucky and they buffed between the time he stole them and the time he steals them, it's just wonky. It doesn't work. And then if he kills somebody with this, he basically turns this into a one-turn cooldown. He turns this into an A1 if it's booked out, right? You book it down to 3. This reduces it by 2 if he kills somebody, and everything's good, right? I mean, maybe. Now, I tried to, I put him with Vizier for a while, thinking maybe I could spread his HP burnout, and it would work, and it didn't work. It didn't work. And then we talked about his passive, and then he's got HP in all battles, which, is not bad. So let me show you how I have mine built out. I tried all attack. I tried big defense. Which is hard because he doesn't have great base stats on his defense. But let me show you what I did. I kind of came up with sort of a blender comp with him. Not blender like Arena with Skull Crown, but just a bit of everything. He just sort of needs a lot of different stuff, right? So I got his accuracy high because I want to land some of this stuff, right? I want to land his HP burn and weaken, because if you don't land those, the rest he doesn't do anything basically if you don't land that. So you have to get his accuracy up. So I got his accuracy up, and then I tried to give him decent hit points, some attack, while getting crit rate and a little bit of crit damage and enough speed, so he just has a lot of turns, because he does a lot of turn meter stuff, right? He this one fully depletes the target's turn meter and then fills his turn meter by the amount the target loses, right? So yeah, I mean, that's not bad. So if he can just continue to come around to this, he ends up being like a lure. So the only place I could really get him to work is Fire Knight. And we'll take a look at that. And then for Masteries, I screwed up his Masteries. I should have gone Helm Smasher or War Master. I'm not sure why I did that. I think I was thinking about the next champion we're going to do, and I put that in there. And then obviously the attack and turn meter control over here. So let's take a look at him. And the only place I could figure out where he was at all viable, and that's here. And we'll do stage 20, so it doesn't take 15 minutes to finish this. And basically, he's going to work like a lure, right? We're going to get our protection. We're going to do our drop defense and weaken. We're going to control turn meter and damage with Cold Heart, and we're going to nuke the waves with Seer. So, I mean, it's an easy run, but Allure does it better, really. I mean, there's nothing this guy's really bringing to the table. So I can't figure out what... Okay, so he put the HP burn on, and he would have stole a buff if the guy had a buff. So he would have stole it that turn, but then he would have come back around and then... Or not stole it. He would have removed the buff that turn, and then he would have come back around and stole a buff if, by chance, that enemy were to have a buff placed on him between his turns, which seems pretty wonky, right? I mean, it seems like he should AoE his burn so he can go steal buffs from other people rather than remove it and then steal it. That just doesn't work. He doesn't work. I mean, he's fine here. Watch, he'll get some good turn meter work on the boss here. But the other thing that I was hoping might happen here is like Fellhound, where Fellhound gets credit against the shield for his reflect, right? Well, this guy doesn't get any of that. So when we get attacked, you would think, okay, we get some credit on the shield, right? Because he reflected damage back, but it doesn't. So we don't even get that, which I think is. He also tries to throw his wonky debuff nonsense into the shield, so his AI is really stupid too. And if you're doing this on auto, you got to get there. He went tried to throw his debuff into the shield. It's just and you got to get kind of lucky. No, he didn't do it. Let's hope. Yeah, okay. So we got the Heartseeker off. Now we should be fine. He's going to come back around and start the turn meter control like Allure would do, but better. So I built him out, and you're welcome. Don't build him out. There's no reason. There's no reason to have this guy. He doesn't really even do great damage, and you'll see he'll be behind Seer and Venus and Cold Heart, and worse than Allure. So she does more damage than he does. So, and he's in pretty decent gear. I mean, he's not in. Allure doesn't have much any better gear than this guy has. So, okay, so we get that. I guess in Faction Wars when you're battling a boss, if you save his steel and he's got that steel debuff up, maybe that would be helpful. But for regular play, I don't see a spot for this guy. So you can see, I mean, he did not quite. He did 2.5 times the damage of Duchess, who doesn't do any damage. So I don't know what. I'll keep that because immunity is hard to get. I don't know what he's good for, to tell you the truth. But that's that Geomancer. So let's talk about the second guy I pulled. And I knew about this guy. I'm being a little tongue-in-cheek when I say I don't know about this guy, because obviously the Shadowkin faction is new. But it's confusing because honestly, all the Shadowkin guys kind of look the same, right? They're all bluish and purple and red, and they all have masks on their faces and have this sort of style, which I guess is part of their team concept. This artwork is great. I mean, it's simple, but it's subtle. I mean, look at the tattered cloth, and his boots have some shine to them, and the worn metal rings, and I mean, just beautiful, beautiful artwork. So this guy is a force-based attack champion, like all the Shadowkin are attack, and he does a few interesting things. First of all, he takes a ton of books. I mean, the guy is a librarian. He must love to read. So he takes 4, 6, 10, 5, 15 books, all of which I invested in him for this video. And again, you're welcome. Don't do it. Honestly, there are better Shadowkin champions than him. So the nice part about it is he's got a multiple attack on every skill, right? So he attacks 3 times on his A1, 3 times on his A2, and twice on his A3, right? So Masteries for him was Giant Slayer. And I think I was a little turned around when I was doing Geomancer, and I put Giant Slayer on him as well. So you can see here. But I went way more heavy into the offense because he is an attack, and he does some decent damage, but nothing to write home about. So he's a poisoner as well, so you want to get enough accuracy and speed, and then I wanted to get some attack on him and make him survivable with a semi-good defense, and then obviously 100% crit rate, and make him a viable attack-based champion. So you can see he got a decreased speed here, which is nice. Nothing there. And then a poison, he'll attack twice and lay a 5% poison per attack. And I don't think there's any. I think he just does it if you have the accuracy. So there's no percentage miss there. And also he'll ignore 10% of target's defense for each poison debuff on the target. It doesn't even say poison debuff he laid. So if you run him with a Bad L or a Venus, which we'll do in a minute, Yeah, he does fine. And all these attacks are great because they work in the only place I ran him in Dragon, he did fine. I mean, there's 14 other poisoners that do better than him, so I don't see any reason to displace any of them, but all these multiple hitters were pretty good, and you guessed it, Fire Knight. So we'll take a look at that, and then we will call it a video. So pop him out, we'll pop him in. And he is complete single target damage. So he's over here. And you can see he does even worse damage than Geomancer does, because he never does any AoE hits, so he doesn't get any credit for that. But you can see big decreases in turn meter. This guy will never get a chance to go. If they gave his turn meter skill AoE, he would be wonderful. But right now I don't, besides Fire Knight, I can't imagine where you'd use him, right? You don't get any turn meter benefit for Dragon, and Ice Golem, he doesn't bring a block revive or anything. Spider, obviously, no. So, the only benefit he's giving us is he'll be able to help us bring the shield down faster with a 3 hit, and he'll do some turn meter stuff, right? Boom, 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 turn meter goes down. And I wish I had him a little faster, actually, and we could keep that turn meter going. Boom, boom, boom. Decrease speed, which is really helpful. For 3 turns, yeah. So I don't think he ever gets his shield back up. So he does actually better on the turn meter stuff than our boy Geomancer does. Boom, boom, boom. See, and 20k a shot for my type of gear, mid-game gear, I mean, it's not terrible. Again, if he was doing that AoE with a turn meter, like Sylar or something, it would be awesome. But obviously he doesn't. So yeah, I'm just not fast enough to keep that shield down. So his 2-hitter, we'll come back around though. Look at all those poisons too, just ticking away. So the nice part is he hits with that first one, drops a shield, and then hits with the next 2, which drop turn meter. So that works out pretty nice. So yeah, I mean, not a terrible run, 2 minutes on level 20. He did 600k. So I guess he did considerably more than Geomancer. So I take it back. Out damaged Cold Heart, which is good. Obviously these 2 carried. So I hope that I convinced you not to build those out, because they are honestly not super good. They're kind of fun, it's always kind of fun to see the new champions. But that'll be a video for now. Hey, if you like the video, please subscribe to the channel. Help a brother out. And I got kids to feed, as you saw from my intro. So hope all is well. Hope you're having a great weekend. Hope you pull us to see a flame tongue if you're going to do that tomorrow. And God bless.